Hello, this is going to be my first battle report from the WTC. This is of my first game against Krzysztof the Polish team captain. We had done our matchups. We were meeting in the first round, and we were meeting on table number 4, I guess it was. I'll go through the table in just a few seconds. So we did our matchups. The Poles had misunderstood a bit of the matchups, but we figured it out in the end. And I got to face off against their captain, which was kind of weird, goofy. I sort of had a recollection of Krzysztof in my head because I felt like I'd seen him before. And he reminded me that when we were in Poland last time, he was a kid. He was like a 16-year-old kid running around taking pictures. And now he was their team captain, and I was facing him. It was brilliant. His father was actually one of the players in their team, so like passing on the legacy. It was great. And he was playing Japanese. I faced quite a lot of Japanese armies, which I was quite happy about because my army was designed to take on other armies that didn't have a lot of shooting, and Japanese, as they came to the WTC, did not have a lot of shooting, so I was really happy about that matchup. I felt like I had gotten the right matchup list-wise for my army. So, let me talk you through the terrain, and so before I do that, though, the scenario had been rolled up to be sectors. So, and that turned out to be quite important with regards to the terrain. Who got to pick sectors, which I got to win that roll-off. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So we had this table here. It was pretty open on one side. This side was very, very, very open. There was no total line of sight blocking cover, not at all. But there was quite a lot of hard cover. There was quite a lot of these walls here, which were like stone fencing walls. And then there was a road running down here, going in here and around here. And this was sort of a fortress-like area. It was a fortified farmstead, which had houses and then very, very high walls that we ruled that were unscalable for infantry, but of course a tank could run through them. And then came the judges. The TOs had decided that you could not destroy terrain and remove it. So the walls had this very weird effect where you ran a tank through them and then they just popped back up because they were still there. So that turned out to be weird. And it had an in-game effect in our game, which I'll get back to. But it worked perfectly well. There was no problem with it. It was just that this one was a pretty hardcore fortress. So we roll sectors. I look at the table, I win the roll-off, as I said before, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to have this sector down here. I wanted that because that meant that I could deploy most of my troops. I could tell that Krzysztof's army, it had 4 armored vehicles, 2 tanks and 2 armored cars, and it had a howitzer and no, it had double howitzers, didn't it? It had a lot of artillery as well, and then a whole lot of bamboo warriors. So I could tell that he wanted range where he could use his artillery, basically, to shoot at me. But I could deploy down here, behind total line of sight blocking cover, or inside the fortress, behind total line of sight blocking cover, where he couldn't shoot at me. And he would have to move up into charge range of my Gurkhas to even engage. So I felt like I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to deploy most of my stuff inside the fortress and then move into the neutral zone inside the fortress where I could be scoring. And at the same time, I wanted to distract him. So I wanted my reserves to come on as early as possible over here and start pushing very hard against his back line. Because I wanted Krzysztof to deploy his reserves into his own deployment zone, into his own sector. When you do that, it becomes very hard to get all of it out of your sector in time for it to be scoring. So I knew that if I could do that and just have all my units being scoring in the neutral zones, I would win. It was exactly what happened. So I run up my Darkest Steward pretty early. up here, and he is